go.
All right. Welcome back to the Rock and Rise podcast. It is episode 22. Season 3, episode 1. We are here with our friend Greg Cooper out in Saskatchewan.
Edmonton.
That's right. You're in Edmonton now?
It's
for how long?
Oh man, the topic we're about to talk about.
Okay.
You threw a curveball.
Okay, that's perfect. You know what? This intro makes exact sense for how my brain is feeling today. All over the place. It's been a fun day, very social. So I am apologizing in advance for any thoughts that don't process properly and all the things. I also feel a little bit hyper. So here we go. We're going to get into it.
This is going to go in some great directions, I can tell already. So,
all right.
Yeah, as Ali mentioned, we are on with our good friend, Greg Cooper, who we have yet to meet in person, but we know, we feel as though we've developed a friendship over the last couple of years, social media-wise. We've been following Greg. Greg's been following us. A lot of fitness challenges, a lot of fitness incorporated sort of growth mindset kind of things. So it's been easy to connect with Greg, and we have no doubt that once we do meet in person, which will happen, hopefully within the next year, that that friendship will just evolve naturally as it has social media side. So, so Greg, I'm going to let you give a little introduction on your background, yourself, owner of Cooper Performance Coaching, but I'll let you take it from here. Give us a little background about yourself.
Awesome. Yeah, Dave, Ali, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure to get to chat with you guys. Formerly in Saskatchewan. Yeah.
Okay. So I didn't just make that up completely. I was like, I think, okay. And then as I was saying it, I was like, this is wrong, but I've already committed to saying it.
No, so I've been in Edmonton here since August of this year. Made the change. One, for first and foremost, for the reason to take over as lead instructor at Kodakwai Judo Club. So Rashad, good friend of mine, he's the head sensei, was looking to grow the judo club and just grow judo in Edmonton as a whole. And we started chatting, and it seemed like a good fit. Judo's been a major part of my life since I was 4. So it seemed like the only option that I could take. And packed up the truck, packed up the trailer, moved to Edmonton in the summer.
Cool.
And it's been a great journey ever since. And so outside of judo, like Dave said, I'm the owner of Cooper Performance Coaching. So I coach athletes. I do have some business clients as well, mindset, personal training, things like that. And mostly athletes. I like working with younger athletes. And it's incredible to see at such a young age what some of these kids are, how they view the world and like what they're already doing at like 12, 13 years old. You're like, wow, eons ahead of where I am. Good for you. Keep going. So yeah, happy to be here today.
Cool. Yeah. Sounds like the future leaders of the country are hopefully leading change within the world too, by the sounds of those young 12-year-olds. So yeah, that's that would have been a big change for you then, relocating completely. Talk us through that a little bit. We wanted to chat with you about change and evolving and how we handle change and growth. And it looks like you have just encountered that yourself. So take us through that whole journey of uprooting everything and moving.
Yeah, it. At the end of the day, it was maybe a lot easier than people would think. I spent 9 years in Saskatchewan and felt like opportunities that were there were taken and embraced. And then over time, it just felt like the natural progression of what I was building and who I was building it with was kind of the foundation and the start. And being originally, I am from Alberta. I grew up in Airdrie, Alberta. So I always knew I was going to come back in some sense, much to my dad and all of my Flames fans that are in the South. Now that I'm in Edmonton, it felt like home. Like the minute I was here with the opportunity coaching judo full time, Rashad and the whole Chin family and the whole judo family, like literally felt like home within a week. And I think the reason that is when we're talking about embracing change and growth is the work that was done prior to. I have taken a lot, I've made a lot of mistakes and I've done a lot of things poorly, but in that journey, I've identified, what vision I want for my life, like where I want to end up in 10 years, 5, 3, 1 years from now. And I knew what that picture looked like. And I knew the environment needed to be changed for it to happen. So honestly, like uprooting, shifting back to Alberta was a pretty easy change for me. And ever since then, it's just felt like exactly what was needed at that time. And everything has kind of honestly felt like a flow state. Like I moved here in August, and actually this weekend was the meeting I had with Rashad and Jim a year ago where they made the decision to bring me in. So it was kind of a full circle moment to now that we're talking about it on the podcast today. It's funny how the universe does that to us when we're always putting things out and everything comes back to us in some way or another. So,
yeah, interesting. I like that you touched on, progressing and developing and learning and evolving through mistakes, right? Or through things that you could have done differently or done better. Really, in my opinion, I think that's the only way that we move forward, and the only way that we actually do progress in a forward direction is through, learning through mistakes. And yet sometimes you have to take chances, and you have to, live through experiences that sometimes aren't going to go the way you plan them. But it's all about, and we've talked about this before, and we throw this term out a lot, but, moving out of your comfort zone. I mean, it's easy for people to just remain stagnant because it's comfortable. But, in my opinion, I think the real growth that happens is from, just pushing yourself out of those comfort zones and finding new things that might not be as how do I want to put it? Might not be as easy as you'd like, but that's the way the growth happens, right? You've got anything that rambling?
Yeah, like whether you're actively seeking putting yourself out of your comfort zone to grow, or life sort of throws something at you and you're maybe forced to make a decision, like if something bad happens and you have to kind of pivot your plan. I think there's a difference between both those things, and I think they both have value.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's where you were going.
Yeah, a little bit. And again, yeah, like Greg, you sort of made this decision for a change yourself, rather than it being, change forced upon you. And I think there's a big difference between, seeking change, right? Seeking growth versus, having something happen unexpectedly, and then you have to pivot, and then as a result, grow and change and figure things out a little more maybe complexly or with complexity versus choosing that path. So Greg, let me get your thoughts on that. Change.
I really like where that went, and I like Allie's note on like the forced change versus voluntary change. And I think where I'll go with it is in the combat sports world, in the judo world, and people have seen the reels, but if you're not in that world, capability of violence can be an odd statement to say. And this will all make sense in a second. So why I bring that up is people that have the capability of violence rarely need to use it, because they have that capability. Other areas of their life, like their de-escalation skills, have increased because they know how capable they are, and they don't need to prove to anybody that they're the toughest guy in the room or toughest girl in the room. Same can be said for people that have never done a combat sport in their life. People that put themselves in challenging environments and voluntarily challenge themselves handle the life challenges that the world just throws at us, whether it's, losing someone close to you, or job goes away, contracts over, whatever thing that life brings to you. it's not as daunting. It's still going to have that shock factor, and you're still going to go through the process of dealing with whatever that hard thing is now in front of you. But people, and you can see it, and I see it in my athletes too. The ones that I know implement challenges in their life, whether it's making sure they're doing the extra training or doing extra reps and put themselves in those hard environments, when something bad goes happen in their day-to-day life, it's not the end of the world. So I think it is so important that people do that. And that's why we got connected originally. It's like, hey, let's do these fitness challenges. It's like, it's not always fun. Like doing 300 push-ups in a day sucks. Like, especially on the 15th day, your triceps hurt, your chest hurts. It's like, oh, this is going to take so long. Day one took me like 30 seconds to, 2 minutes. Now it's like, I'm going to be on the floor for 10 minutes. This sucks. But then if something happens out in the wild when you're outside, you have the capability to at least lift yourself up if you fall in the street and there's a car coming. Well, I could push up and get out of here. Mm-hmm. Maybe an extreme example, but yeah, I think it's really important that people do that as often as possible.
Yeah, you have that experience to draw from when something in life comes up, because things are always going to come up that you can't plan for, but you can always think back like, okay, well, I got through like that hard physical challenge and kind of draw strength from that. I know I've done that a lot in my own life, just in my own mind, to get me through like a challenging time or whatever.
As you were discussing, or as you were talking about that, it came to my mind. I almost want to perhaps for next year, the push-up challenge or the 24-hour push-up challenge that we got coming up, I think I want to reframe it to the push-up opportunity, because I like I almost prefer that terminology over it being seen as like a challenge, right? Because you can look at it that way if you just shift your mindset that well, no, this is an opportunity for growth, opportunity for bettering myself in one way, shape, or form. So maybe I'll look at redoing the posters next year as a 24-hour push-up opportunity.
We'll trick people into coming.
Yeah, well, because you can look at that and like you were alluding to, and like you were speaking to Greg, I think both Ali and I have we've faced quote unquote challenges, but I think the reason that we have surpassed and overcome and gotten through them is because we've chosen to see them as an opportunity, right? Versus a setback. It's more of an opportunity to pivot, opportunity to grow, an opportunity to see something in a different light. So I like that you brought that up, and just with the evolution through combat sports and how those individuals, they know what they have in their toolbox, right? And the opportunity is there should it present itself. But again, the de-escalation tools are there as well. So it's all about the opportunity and all about the direction that you choose to go with it. So yeah, I'll get your thoughts on that challenge versus opportunity point.
Yeah, last week a friend of mine and I were talking about how language matters, and like the words and how we frame them really matters. And what came to my mind when you were talking about the difference between a challenge or an opportunity is you rarely hear someone go, "Oh, this is the challenge of a lifetime." No, they say it's the opportunity of a lifetime, right? And it's just that it's finding ways to trick our brain into like viewing what's in front of us differently. Mm-hmm. Instead of like, oh, that was the hardest challenge of my life. That was the hardest thing I've ever done. It was like, no, that was a great opportunity. I've gotten so much stronger from it. I learned a lot about myself. Me and my friends got in the pain cave together. We just did our first marathon and we learned so much. Or, it could be a simple challenge of like, starting to read a book every day. But that's just an opportunity to learn new things and get new ideas. And multiple times this weekend, we're an hour into sparring rounds, 20 minutes straight for some of the athletes, depending on the form. And it's like, you see them like just peeling themselves off the mat. Like they're exhausted and they could quit and they could just go off to the side. But what you hear from the coaches and what I'm saying to them is that, well, man, you're tired. What a privilege. Let's go. One more round, 4 more minutes left in practice. You know, that's a privilege. You're here, you're putting in the work, you earn that. And in that space, that's the opportunity within the challenge.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't say this, but I see it's like, oh, you know, stepping in the gym is part of just like step one of it. Like sometimes I dislike that because I'm like, sure, but just physically being in the gym is not going to make a change. Just physically being in that space isn't going to make a change. And if you reframe that again, that's just making it more of a daunting thing. Like, oh, just going there is a challenge. No, that's the start of the opportunity.
Yeah.
So I really like that, Dave. And I think maybe that's how we should frame it all, is it's not a challenge, it's an opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I can somewhat relate. When you're talking about, being on the mats and those guys going, 20 minutes hard and just exhausted, peeling themselves off the mat. And if you haven't pushed yourself into physical exertion, or you haven't, challenged yourself, whether it's heart rate or strength or all of it combined, it may be hard to kind of understand and picture that. But, I go to boxing a couple times a week now. And a lot of it is self-pace driven, right, throughout the workout. But I like to think that, like you said, me just showing up and, putting the wraps on or whatever, that's a very minimal step base kind of thing. Yeah, I got myself in the door, I'm there. But I really want to get the most out of my time there. I would really want to embrace this opportunity and this. You're right, privilege, a great word. Privilege that I get to do this. Like I'm physically capable of doing this. I'm mentally capable of doing this. So there's no excuse why I wouldn't push myself to the absolute kind of max, because future me is going to thank present me for those 2-minute rounds on the bag, or those 2-minute shadow boxing, whatever it is. I'm going to maximize that effort. I'm going to put out as much as I can, because it is a privilege for me to be there, and it's a privilege for an opportunity for growth. And like I say, 60 or 70-year-old Dave is going to thank 48-year-old Dave for putting in the work and putting in the effort now.
Oh, revealed your age.
Oh, I say 48 and then 38.
Yeah, it's audio problems. I
That's
can't
it.
hear you.
You might have got a 4. It was supposed to be a 3.
You're not feeling it.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. That I love that terminology, privilege. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like to take it on the other side of the physical, like Ali, you do so much yoga and like a lot of mindfulness and wellness work. It's the same thing. Yeah, it's not the opportunity of the challenge to like work hard. Yeah, we're getting like the raw, like, more masculine side of it. But, the opportunity that you get to go to yoga, to slow down, to understand your body, to feel your body more, to like get connected, like that too is challenging. You want to hear groans? I'll tell you when I say, okay, guys, yoga at the end of judo. Every one of my athletes age 15 to 19. Oh.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
hold a tree pose. And they can't. They're like, oh, I thought you guys were young, fit, and mobile judo athletes, right?
Yeah, but it's so different and so out of their comfort zone. And I'm finding that at the gym as well, because I'm doing some personal training at a gym now too, and incorporating some yoga at the space next door. And I'm actually thinking about starting a class just called Gym Bros Yoga, because for this exact reason, because there's lots of, like younger guys there who are lifting, and they're awesome people, super nice. Like really, it's a nice gym vibe there. Everyone's friendly and helpful, but they're because yoga is new and they're young, they can get away without doing a lot of the mobility work. But I am talking to them about how this is going to help them lift more, and they kind of go together. But because it's called yoga, they don't necessarily want to come. Although I have had one 18-year-old came with his dad last week, and he was in a yoga pose, and he was like, "This is the hardest thing I've done." And it was so great for him to come out of his comfort zone and be in a class with me and some other women as well, because it's usually more female dominated, at least around here. But it was so good to see him do that, and he wants to come again. But I'm actually thinking about doing a specific class just for the gym guys who want that stretching and mobility, and easing them into the more mindfulness breath work part of it as they become more comfortable just with the more basic stretching, because that part's important too, but it's new and they don't necessarily want that. So I think there's like a balance of like, just kind of figuring out. But the Gym Bros yoga, that was actually Dave's idea. He's like, why don't you just have a class just called that? I bet you they would probably come if it wasn't really called, it's just like specifically for them. So I like that. And I'm finding too, like with my clients, my personal training clients, I'm always like, oh, we're going to do this really fun move. And they're all like, well, what you think is fun and what I think is fun is two different things. So I don't trust you when you say that, because it'll be like 30 seconds of thrusters, as many as you can do, then break. And then we're going to do it again. It's like the move of the week or whatever to like finish out strong. And I changed it out, but they're all very skeptical when I say, ooh, we're going to do something fun or it's going to be spicy. They're all like, oh, they end up loving it. But there's always like this, like, well, we don't think that's as fun as you think it is.
Yeah. Nothing makes somebody more uneasy than a coach or a PT going, trust me, guys, this is going to be great.
Yeah, you're going to love it. Like, they're like, oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do love that incorporation of that, because it is. And, I've put some of my most challenging workouts to a yoga workout where it's like a strength-based flow where, you're going and doing dolphin push-ups. It's like, I don't care how strong you are, 2 minutes straight of that, you're going to be humbled.
Yeah.
And the other thing I explained, not to go down this route too much, but it's like yoga's different, right? Women mechanically and how they're built, like they can fall into those positions.
Mm-hmm.
Males, like we have to like work for it naturally. Our muscles are just tight built, like our hamstrings are like rocks because they're so tense all the time. So it's like, yeah, holding those is difficult. But the other thing I tell my athletes and like my PT clients too, is like I've skipped mobility because I do judo and I can kind of get away with it sometimes. But when I've intentionally done mobility, I've gained way more strength if I measured that month versus the month I didn't stretch. So it's like missed opportunity here, guys.
Yeah.
You got to embrace that challenge. You got to embrace that change. And I quickly have to shout out first, Dave, we must have like great taste in who we surround ourselves with, because my best friend is also named Allie, and she's a personal trainer in Edmonton. So
cool.
I'll have to connect you. I was literally talking to her before the podcast, and I was like, I got to connect you with Allie for sure. Like, you guys have so much in common. And one, you're both just wicked Allies. And that's what she's doing. So she just transitioned her career from the finance world to a full-time personal trainer. And she's a soccer athlete, basketball athlete, and just like the greatest energy in the room. And she's already like, oh, I'm going to make like classes. And I'm like, I just made this poster, and she's sharing all of this stuff with me. And I'm like, this is great. Like, this is how you make an impact. And like, that's how you are going to make changes in so many people's lives. And she was talking to her one client who was like on the fence. He's like, well, I don't know. Like, yeah, the cost is kind of high for what I'm talking about right now. And she said this simple thing to him. She went, look, I'm not trying to sell you a product. I know what happens if you leave here and don't go to the gym, but I also know what happens if you just show up here and you just get caught in the hamster wheel of like remaining the same, which is frankly could be worse than you getting like way unhealthy and out of shape. And he's like, oh, so it's just reframing how people look at it and like giving them a different way to see what's in front of them, because they might not always see it. And when it comes out, that's what being a coach is. That's what being a trainer is. That's what being a good friend is. It's like, hey, yeah, the way you're looking at that thing right now might seem daunting, super negative. You don't want to be anywhere near it right now. But have you looked at it this way?
Yeah, absolutely. And it applies, and it can apply to every aspect of life, right? Like that mindset, and then shifting that mindset and framing it that way, because, we talk a lot about, physical challenges and physical things that we put ourselves through and we challenge ourselves with, and we grow through that. But, that friend that you were just discussing about, like a career change, and we've both have had career changes as well. And it's no different whether it's a challenge that's physically applicable, or whether it's a career change. It's all about the mindset. So it can be seen, and we've had some career changes where there's been some unknowns, and we've worried about them, and we've like asked the questions of had the uncertainties, and brought up the all the fears of the unknowns. But then we've also managed to flip that and look at it as an opportunity, and phrase it that way, and have that mindset of this is an opportunity now for me to grow and move into something different. It might be scary, and it's going to be scary for a little bit, but at the end, we're certain that we're going to come out of it, better off on the other side. So, it can apply, like I say, to anything in life, and even, losing something unexpectedly. It's all about how you shift your mindset and reframe things. So, yeah, I like where this is going. I did want to ask, so you mentioned judo since the age of 4, correct? Yeah.
Yep.
So, early years, were there particular mentors or coaches that you sort of had as an up and coming, athlete, that sort of shaped and helped mold you into where you are now, where you're actively seeking growth and change and challenges and those sort of things?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was talking to my best friend about this on the way home from our coach's dinner. It's the coolest thing about judo is, because it's a smaller sport in Western Canada anyway, in Canada, our network is small. Like, it takes you 1 degree of separation to like, oh yeah, I know that guy. Yeah. Oh yeah, I did judo with him, traveled to Scotland with him. But my sensei, Paul, like, first and foremost, is one of the men I revere the most in my life. There were times growing up, I met him when I was 4, and I just had dinner with him last night. So
cool.
Yeah.
And my teammate, my brother, he coaches back in Airdrie with Sensei Paul now, and like, we're all still in it, and it's just evolved. And Sensei Paul, there was times where I spent more time with him than I did my parents when I was training, like 4 or 5 times a week. Every weekend we're gone, and just the lessons, like the biggest thing. I mean, it's hard to say the biggest, but one of the most impactful, I'll say, is knowing Sensei Paul that long. I've heard him angry twice, like verbally, physically, like, or not physically, but like yelling. Once because one of our teammates lost a gold medal. He was just like upset that opportunity got lost. And then once because collectively, me and my teammates were being really mean to one of our teammates because we were kids. We made a mistake and we were being rude. Like, but that's it. Like, the most even-keeled, calm, collected man, and would always find a way to just like bring the room to where it needed to be. And no matter what the case was, no matter how crazy or chaotic a situation was, Sensei Paul could provide a solution, provide some advice to what could be the next step. No matter if you just lost a national medal opportunity and you think everybody that just watched thinks you're the worst judo player in the world, to something unrelated to judo, family issues, anything, Sensei Paul was there. And I've always tried to impart that in how I coach today, because I am. If people who've been around me know, I wear my heart on my sleeve and I'm a pretty animated guy. But in judo, ketsuke means like listen, pay attention. And when I say ketsuke on the mats, I literally hear Sensei Paul saying it because I say it exactly how he did, like the same demeanor. And I've brought that up to multiple of my other mentors in judo, just people I do judo with. They're like, I know exactly what you mean. Because when I say, okay, guys, let's go, or whatever their like cue is to like start class or like stop, they're like, my coach did it that same way. And it's like the small thing I took that like has him on the mat with me. So, you know, like Sensei Paul has been there since the start. You know, my best friend Josh, he's the head coach of Saskatchewan. He taught me so much as I took this role as a professional coach, because that's what he did and still does. And he just gave me so many nuances into connecting, still being an athlete, and how that can help a coach, and how coaching can help being an athlete. And just his view on things is so systematic. In a sport like judo, the issue is there's sometimes not a lot of embrace of change because it's a martial art, because it's so old. Well, this is the way we have to keep up with
tradition.
it. Yes, very important. That's how I was taught judo. That's how I teach judo. However, things can evolve. Yeah, there's, you know, this throw, but just because you do it from a different grip or from a different setup doesn't make it wrong. It makes it work for that individual. And the connection Josh makes that I think a lot of people can embed in any area of their life. But in judo, we have all these fancy words. No, it's just sounds fancy because it's Japanese. But he's like, what's the difference between what we do and football? He goes, football have plays, I formation, quarter, shotgun. Why do they have that? To make it work for the situation in front of them. So why would we keep the throw the same for any opponent? It's not going to work. We have to make different plays. And that's how he viewed judo. And now that's how I've definitely started coaching more. And I've taken that outside of judo, and it's like, okay, what's the play that I need to look at here? What angle do I need to change for the problem in front of me? And it's trying to pull, you know, the things we learn from pieces of our life that we're most passionate about, whether it's family life, our passion, our professional life. Like, what can we pull from those areas to adapt and make a new play for a problem that we're facing? And Josh gave me that, and that's something I still try to evolve today. So I could probably talk about mentors I have in judo and in life for about 40 minutes per person. So I'll try to end it there. But yeah, one of the leading principles in judo is judo koi, mutual welfare and benefit. It's not just about who's the biggest, strongest, fastest, best record on the mat. It's what have you done outside of the dojo? What have you taken into the community and spread for goodwill of everyone? And both of those gentlemen have done that for me and still do it to me for every day I talk to them. So
very cool. Very cool. I love it. And I'm willing to guess that throughout that relationship, you know, there's been probably a lot of conversation, you know, obviously about judo and sport and coaching and all that. But I imagine there's probably been a lot of conversation just about life itself, right? Like, you know, there's a reason there's a reason that mentor has been in your life for as long as he has. And I'm willing to bet that, a lot of those conversations that revolved around just everyday life experiences and growth and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that is the difference between what makes a mentor and no, I don't like where I was going to say with that. I think that's what makes a mentor a mentor. It's not just in the area that you both are in, because you're going to meet a mentor because through sports or through the work that you're doing, there's going to be some connection like that. But when I think you could truly call them a mentor is when it extends outside and they are more than just the better expert than you. They're, hey, no matter what's going on in your life, like what's going on, how can we help? And they give you life advice, not just the advice that maybe at the start of your relationship with them, you were paying them for. You were their paid coach. Okay, well, that's fine. And then over time, they become your mentor because you stop paying them because you grow up and you've now also become a coach, or you've also become something else that doesn't require their services anymore, but they still give you that advice and they're still there. And mentorship is a overused term in some cases, in my opinion, but a true mentor is the one that lets you grow and sometimes grow away from them and is still always there and is still always like, hey, haven't seen you in 2 years, but hope things are going well. Is there anything you need? Like, love to catch up, love seeing what you're doing. And I think that goes to show the true character of the people. When you're growing, if they're not growing with you or giving you the space, then that relationship maybe wasn't what it seemed. And maybe that individual doesn't understand that they need to embrace change too. But yeah, Sensei Paul's been in my life my whole life. So definitely an individual, I would say, understands that and applies that to everybody. And he's one of the most revered coaches in Judo Canada. Like, you can't go to a dojo in Canada without somebody knowing who he is.
Cool.
Yeah,
I want to talk
very
about
cool.
impact. Like,
What does it mean to you, Greg, to now be able to, you have that experience, but now you're coaching and possibly mentoring some of your students? What does that mean to you to be able to like pass that on and help these younger kids?
It's everything, Allie. Like, I was sending a message to a friend of mine when I was driving back from the training camp today, and I'm like, people always ask me like what judo means to me and like why is it important and like why is that the thing you've chose to now take in as a profession. And it's the moments where the kid has a breakthrough and you could see them like just grinding, and then they have that aha moment, or another coach that they don't know at a camp like this comes up to them and gives them feedback, gives them advice, tells them how impressed they were with that technique. And then the parents, when they see that, and it's not the fact that the parents come up to me or send me a message, it's knowing that they see the impact we're making. I know the impact my coach has made on me. And if I only get 3 months with some of these athletes, maybe in 3 months they find a new sport, they move cities. If I can impart what Sensei Paul gave to me and what my other coaches did to me, and that's, being a better young man, a better young woman, a great teammate, a good son, a good brother, that is such a privilege. And it makes me like those moments and like the moments of like the true pride they feel in themselves, like that makes me fall in love with judo every time I step on the mats. It's the medals are cool. It's fun to see the guys win, but it's like those moments of like internal triumph where it's like the most frustrating thing to that athlete, to the best athlete in Canada might be like, that's what was causing you grief? Yeah, because that's their personal battle and they just won it. And that was, or, seeing the super awkward, goofy kid that can't make friends at school, maybe gets picked on, all of a sudden becoming one of the boys at the dojo, high five and knuckles when they're walking into the change room. It's like, this is like, how can you not, right? Like, how can you not get romantic about judo, right? Baseball. But
no, there's the win.
And the confidence that it must build like within all the students and the self-trust that it would build within them too. And like that, those are just two like major qualities that are going to help them in every aspect of their life as they grow. Yeah. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that like parallel must be like daily too as a parent.
Yeah.
I have 100 kids, but I don't have any of my own yet. So it is different, right? Like,
it is. And no, you're absolutely right. I mean, leadership, mentorship, however you want to term it or phrase it, comes in all forms, and parenting is, certainly at the forefront. And I mean, we've got Josh, 9 going on 10 this year. And then, our oldest just turned 23. And it's interesting when you're in it and you feel like you're repeating the same kind of lessons and the same message kind of week after week, and you think, man, it's just going in one ear and out the other. And then next thing you know, they're a young adult, and all of a sudden they're making comments about seeing their peers or being around their peers, and they're making comments to you almost in appreciation or thanking you for all those messages, those repeated messages, and all that instruction and the structure and all of it. And they're thanking you because now they can, a light goes off or a light bulb goes off, and now they can see it clearly, the reason behind all of that. And they're figuring it out for themselves as a young adult, and they're seeing the difference between what we have pushed and what we've provided, and they're seeing the difference in maybe some of their peers that maybe falling off a little bit socially or professionally or academically, whatever it is. They're able to kind of see like, all right, yeah, I know and I understand why those things were being said to me and those lessons were being provided to me. And it's very rewarding as a parent because like we said, however you want to term it, leadership, mentorship, whatever it is, it's incredibly rewarding when all of a sudden you see them get it and you see them start to show signs of success and progression and growth and development and all of it in their own life. And it's a good feeling. And we're consistent with our little guy, with Josh, and I have no doubt of confidence that 10 years down the road we're going to see the same outcome. Now, Allie's probably going to disagree right now, but it's coming.
No, I know it's
coming.
there. It's just digging deep for the patience. It's pausing, taking a breath before responding a lot of the time. Right now, I think with Josh, not all the time, but yeah, I would say we've been butting heads a little bit for sure. Me and him mostly. He's testing all the boundaries, and yeah.
And that's what they do. Right?
That's what they do. And like that to be said too, like I've been going through like a little bit of stuff as well, like starting therapy again and trying to deal with this different part of grief that has sort of come up for me the last month or so. So I also know that I'm not necessarily always in my most patient, best headspace to be parenting all the time too. But I mean, those things go hand in hand, and you have to find ways to do both at the same time, which we do by like, sometimes Dave is taking over and I'm going for a walk by myself, or a ruck for, by myself, and no one's coming with me that night for those 20 minutes. Cause that's just when I'm getting my head right. And I mean, Greg, you probably know this too, but all the benefits of rucking, the physical benefits, amazing, but I'm truly doing it for my mental health at the moment. It's just such a huge benefit and costs nothing. So that's what we do.
Yeah, awesome. I wanted to just go back to a couple of things you said. So, and you mentioned, passing on the knowledge and passing on what was passed on to you through a sensei that had such an impact in your life. And I think it was just like yesterday or a couple of days ago, Sean Taylor put a post up about sort of this, somewhat responsibility for men, or, and I would argue for anyone really, but this responsibility to sort of to pass on, lived experience, and to pass on that, this form of mentorship to those that up and coming generation sort of thing. And it resonated with me quite intensely because, in the reserves, in the Canadian Armed Forces, with our reserve unit, personally, I've been on the fence over the last year or so about whether I release or whether I, stay in and stay on things. And a huge part of me remaining in is for that reason. So when I got in, I had some excellent leadership and some great mentors, and they took a lot of time and a lot of pride into teaching and to instructing and to making sure that I understood, the purpose behind everything. And so they made great efforts to sort of bring me up to that next level or a higher standard. And I really do feel that it is my responsibility now, to take that sort of leadership role and mentorship role and to pass it on to the next generation of troops that are coming in, because I want to show them or give them the same opportunities and the same privileges and the same experience that I had. So then in turn, 20 years or whatever, how long down the road, they're the ones passing it on to them. So that's, it's kind of where I'm at right now in the reserves world is, there's a reason, there's many reasons that I want to stay in. I get a lot of personal growth through it myself, but a big part is being able to pass it on to the next generation as well. So, yeah, I thought it was a great message anyways that Sean put up. And I can see that you're embracing it yourself with, passing on what's been passed on to you. So I think it's the way to go, really.
Yeah. I remember, I shouldn't say remember, it wasn't that long ago, but I read that post as well. And yeah, it stuck with me. And it's something that I try to do every day to somebody. And like, I try to pass on, something of value to at least somebody in my circle. And I think it is important, because if that doesn't happen, then we can't look to the people coming up behind us and go, well, of course, like the next generation's terrible. Like, look at them. Okay. So instead of saying it that way, why don't you try to give them some advice, try to guide them, take them under your wing, give them a space and an environment that they can come to focus on positive things, opposed to just blaming them for what the world looks like right now. It's like people go to the negative, and we talk about social media lots. I'm on social media lots, but it can be a terribly negative thing because of these young next generation kids that don't know anything and that are entitled, blah, blah, blah. Great. Sure. That's a statement that you just said, but what have you done to make a difference? What have you done to change that thing? What have you done to try to help those people grow? And I look at the communication that was put forth from my sensei and all of my coaches, not just to me, but to my parents. And that's the other thing I do to make sure that there is that trust where, you have to talk about why we're doing things and what we're doing them for. There's a purpose, because it's not always going to make sense to people, especially when it's like disciplinary and I know, being in the military, Dave, that you can definitely understand that, where it's like, yeah, sometimes the punishment is like, what is this? Why is the whole team? It was just the one guy that messed up. Or, when you see one kid get singled out and it's like, hey, it's not fair. Life isn't fair. Sometimes you're going to make a big mistake and you have to learn from that. But again, it's reframing it. Yeah, you made a mistake, but it doesn't make you a bad person. Mm-hmm. You made a mistake. We're human. I'm going to make a mistake in 20 minutes. Like just give it some time, right? Yeah. But if you change and move forward from it, like how are you taking that, again, mistake, challenge, opportunity, right? This is all stuff we can all intertwine it and then growing from that. How are you taking what you're dealing with right now and growing from that? Like, again, like just the intuitiveness of our own self and understanding ourselves. Allie knowing that some days she needs to go for a ruck by herself. Like that's incredible. Not enough people communicate that stuff. And that's why a lot of big issues become really, really challenging and in communication in a team and a partnership, because people don't communicate what they need or what is challenging them. What is the opportunity that they're not getting? What is the opportunity they need to take, but they feel like they can't? Communication is the base for all of that. You can't change, you can't grow, you can't get better without communicating. And if you have nobody to communicate to, get a journal, write it down. Like there's a lot of tools that people overlook in this journey of life where it's like, it's so simple. You just need to take a breath and like understand the next thing that you need to do. Not 10 years down the road first, 10 seconds in front of you. Start there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Break it down.
You nailed it. And I mean, once you figure that out, especially that communication piece, and again, like you say, whether it's to your partner or to a friend or to a family member, or as you mentioned, just writing it out, man, like life can be so easy. Life can be so simple and enjoyable to navigate once you have, kind of nailed those tools and established those tools. And communication is a huge one. Like, what do I need? Or asking the other person, what do you need? Or simply writing it out. Well, I need to do this for an hour, tomorrow, whatever it is. Man, it can alleviate so much unnecessary stress in your life, and it's where the winning and the growth starts. Really. Agreed.
Sadly, I agree, and we can't have a debate about it.
She hates when I make sense of things. So. Allie, you had a couple things you wanted to ask Greg while we got him here?
Yeah, I did. How do you, so obviously you have a very growth mindset and you enjoy change and embrace that, but have you ever come across a time where you were facing a change and you were very nervous or scared or fearful of that change, and how did you move through that? Or do you have an example of someone that you help coach through a certain change?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Greg's just crushed all his changes.
I know. He's like, I'm never afraid. This question doesn't apply to me. Because it's interesting. This question came to mind because I really like change too. And I feel nervous when I'm doing something new for sure, but I just trust myself enough and can move through the change even when I'm feeling nervous or scared or whatever that feeling is. But I know I was talking to a client and her exact words were, I hate change. And even thinking about making a change, whether it was career or, moving or even something smaller, something new, even, coming to the gym and starting to work out was difficult for her because it was new, meeting new people, going to a new place. And I can understand that for sure, especially where anxiety can bubble up for people. But how do you help people move through that and come to the other side?
Yeah. I don't think there's any squeaky clean people out there. And if they claim to be, they're just not at a point in their life where they're willing to admit mistakes they've made or things they've gone through. And, when I was in university, my friend, Isaac Miller, I think you guys are connected with him too. He's in the Collective Network. He's a great guy from the States. He's a personal trainer, former Marine. He put this on me when I first met him, and it was his own saying about himself. But I was like, yeah, 100%. I go with it. I've lived a lot of life in a little time. For good or for bad, I was like, wow, that resonates with me so deeply because in university, I was president of the Agriculture Students Association, or I was first year rep. I was VP president, right? We were life of the party. We were the go-to guys. Everybody came to us for the events, for the fundraisers. We were larger than life. We're university kids having fun. And we'd walk down the hallways and everybody would know, we had all these stupid nicknames and they'd be like, hey, I'd be like, I don't know any of you. What's up, guys? It was honestly a lot. And but at that time it felt like the most important thing. Everybody knew us and it was great. And then I lost my grandfather, and it was the real first time I had lost somebody close to me. I'd lost my nan It's my dad's mom. When I was young, but I couldn't understand the brevity of it yet. And when Grandpa passed away, we were thick as thieves. Like that was my guy. I lived next door to him my whole life. We did everything together. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. And it was the first real time I felt grief in my life. And I dealt with it. I went through the stages of grief, and doing his eulogy helped out a lot. And then a few months passed, and we're at the university house, and I get a call from one of my buddies like, "Hey, did you hear about Morgan?" I'm like, "No," but he was panicked. It was like, "What? No, man. Like, what's up?" He's like, "He's in the hospital. He's not going to make it." And he ended up taking his own life. And again, larger than life, like happiest guy, always a smile on his face. Everybody loved him. At his funeral, there was 3,000 people. He grew up in Ontario. We were living in Alberta. Like all of his teammates and family from Ontario came. Like that was the impact that he made in the world. And I saw all of my teammates or all of my friends grieving, and I said, "Put it on me. Let it." Like I was the sponge for it, which I thought was the right thing to do at the time, because I don't like seeing my people upset. But that put a lot on me, and I was 19, 20, and then the following summer, and I like went through again the stages of grief, and I thought I'm good now. And then in the summer, I was working this summer job, and I got in a bit of an accident, and I still to this day don't know how I didn't even get a scratch on me during this accident. And I went right back to work like that afternoon. My boss was fine with it. I was fine with it. I was actually happy he did. And then, a month goes by, and I'm back in university because it was close to the end of summer. And I'm going into my third year of university. And when I'm with people, when we're partying, it's great. This is fun, larger than life. By myself, couldn't focus on it. I had the worst survivor's guilt in the world. I just lost two of the best people I ever known. Why am I still here? I had an accident. That should have been my time to punch the clock too. And I got really angry. And it took a lot for me to even like tell this story when I started telling it. Now I have no problem with it. But my best friend, Mac, he came to me, we were drinking, and he's like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "You're not telling me something. I've let you sit with it for a while because I know you needed to, but what is up?" And I like broke down and told him everything. And he's like, "Why didn't you tell us, man? Like, we knew those two things happened, but we didn't know the third thing happened, and we didn't know what it was doing to you." But he goes, "I knew something was different." And that change like did everything for my mindset to be like, why are we trying to be tough guys that hold things in? I was told to leave university because I couldn't study, because every time I was by myself, my brain wouldn't work. And I left university, and that piece, like all of that thing is important. But when I left university, that's when I found out a lot about life. Because all of these people that would come to me for everything, and I was, Greg's the man, all this, they were gone. I had 3 people. I had my 3 best friends that were there through it all. Everybody else, I was still university age. So like I was working, and I'd go to the university bar, and I would hear people telling stories about me when I was like 2 feet away. And then I'd like jump into that circle. I'd be like, I haven't heard that one before. And I'm like, why am I here? Like, I'm not coming back to this place ever again. Like, this is such a terrible environment. Like, I've been gone for 2 months, guys. Like, what are we doing? Like, you used to think I was the man, and now you're talking shit. So, it just gave me a lot of perspective on nobody knows what anybody's going through, and who you surround yourself truly matters. And that was definitely the piece that has given me the most perspective in life. Like the worst thing that ever happened to me. I shouldn't say it like that, but it was like the most impactful, because it was like the launching pad for the man I am today. So yeah, people go through things, and you're going to go through a lot of things, and how you go forward from it makes a big difference, and who you're around makes a big difference. Great question, Allie.
Thank you for sharing.
I was just gonna say, yeah, thanks for sharing that. I mean, wow, yeah, wow. It's interesting. We were doing our ruck this afternoon, and I was thinking about this podcast and this conversation, and then I was also thinking back to, various obstacles in life that I've had to navigate, and switch and pivot directions on things, and it just kept coming. My mind kept repeating back to, I have survived everything. I'm here right now in this moment, because I have survived everything in life so far, whether it's been good or bad. Doesn't matter. I'm here right now, and I've survived it all. So, a lot of those, when we think about, quote unquote challenges or obstacles, really it goes back to, they're opportunities for growth, because we're here. We're all three of us are here right now, and we've all learned something from all those obstacles that we've navigated and come through, and yeah, we're living life, and I'd like to say that we're living it quite full as well. I think you would probably agree. And from what we see, social media only shows so much. So again, yeah, we appreciate what you've shared with us for a deeper context, a deeper level. But I do think, that we're all living life to a very full level, and I think it's great to see, really. Anything to add, Allison?
No, that was good. I was just going to ask, this is like sort of off topic, but what's kind of like on the horizon for you? So you've kind of made this big change, career change and stuff like that. Do you have anything kind of that you've got your sights set on that you're currently working towards? Or do you have like a 5-year goal that you're pushing towards? Or what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, lots. Like we're
always something.
And it's really cool when you start getting in alignment with your life and like yourself first, which I think is really important when we talk about change. You need to be, in check with yourself. And Rashad, good friend of mine, me and him think very much alike, but still vastly different. He's actually a doctor. He's a trauma doctor at the U of A. So he thinks very differently than me, but we have alignment in our vision and what we want to grow. And the big thing we're working on is just making the biggest impact in specifically the Edmonton community right now with judo, and growing the club and making it as big as possible. Right now I'm running school programs, and, making that a permanent fixture is something that's, very short term, big, but still a very big goal for us. And then making like satellite programs to get into elementary schools and other schools around Edmonton, just to show people this sport and what opportunities it can present, and just a neat new thing that they haven't seen. So that's definitely one of them. And then just growing my own personal business. My big goal is to only have to do judo and my PT work, my strength coaching work. And that's it. I still do some sales stuff on the side, which is fine. It's fun, but the goal is to just build judo and like create such an impact in that space and in the fitness world, and the performance coaching world, that's all we're doing all day long, and just trying to create a positive impact. And, I look at times where I'm like, people are like, man, you're doing so much. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing enough. I need like 5 more hours every day, please. And it's like, why, you could just stop. Like, it doesn't, or you hear the others like, oh, why are you doing all that? Like, nobody cares. I'm like, sure, maybe not. But the minute I hear that is when I get like a random message from somebody like, oh, I needed to hear that today. Or like, oh, if it weren't for seeing you working out, I would have skipped the gym today. And like just making that impact. But long term, We want to have the biggest club in Western Canada in the next 3 years, and one of the biggest and highest performing clubs in Canada in the next 5. So that's what we want to do. And we all love this sport. Our, Kodakwai, we call it the Kodakwai Judo family, not the judo club, because everybody in the club is just that. So building that space and just giving kids and adults, just giving anybody that space that they can feel welcome, that they can grow, that they can chase whatever goals they have in life, whether it's to be, the next Olympic champ, or to be national champ or provincial champ, or do something scary for the first time that's out of their comfort zone and just step on the mats and try something new. So yeah, judo is the forefront of most things right now. And also making sure that while I'm doing that, I'm giving, my friends opportunities to come up with me. Like I talked about my friend Allie multiple times in the podcast. Like she's a new personal trainer in the city, and, we try to get her at the dojo, and we try to get her out, and just seeing people around me chase their own passions in life. That's what I want to do. Like I want to help my people get up, because you hear, oh, it's lonely at the top. Sure, if you're dick.
Yeah.
But not to use bad language there, but it's true. Like it's lonely at the top if you let it be, but if you're working towards whatever your big success is in life, whatever that big goal is that you need to achieve, that you were put here to achieve, that's great. But it's so much better when you get to help your people do it. And it's just the best feeling to see their success. And sometimes it's more rewarding to see others around you succeed in some cases.
100%. It's only lonely at the top if you stay there by yourself. So why wouldn't you try and bring others up with you, right? Like
yes.
That's the goal you should be striving for. Everyone should be striving for.
Yeah. Collaboration over competition.
That's it.
Every time.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's clearly a reason that that we have connected, and this whole collective group has connected social media wise, and it's like-minded individuals that are really just trying to get the most out of life and do better each day, but at the same time influence and help others to achieve the same and maximize the joy in life and the fulfillment in life. So and Greg, we really, really appreciate this whole conversation. This has been great. I thoroughly enjoy having you on here. We're going to have you on again. We'll get you to Ontario, or we'll come out your way, and you can join us for one of our challenges. We'll join you for one of yours. We've got 5th annual Peterborough Rucksack March for Remembrance happening in November. So, maybe mark it on the calendar and come on out. We'll go for a 22-kilometer walk together. I know you're no stranger to rucking, so.
No, I actually, it's finally starting to feel like spring here. And I'm like, my friend was out all day, and I'm like, that's the only problem. That's maybe the only thing I'll be like, I wish judo was an outside sport. Because like when it's sunny, it's like, how do you not get outside? And that's what I tell everybody when people are like, oh, why do you ruck? I'm like, the mental health, man, it is just the best. You're having a bad day, a good day, a great day, a sad day, step outside. It'll improve.
It just helps you. It always shows up in the way that you need it to, even if you don't know what that way is until you start walking, whether it's that you need to just tune out and your brain needs a rest, or you're processing something or getting connected to your body. Like it surprises me every time. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I always know that I need to go for a ruck, and I always feel better. I never regretted going for a ruck, but it always surprises me what I get out of it every time. Yeah,
it's great. We'll keep on rucking. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to start a ruck club now too. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Just bringing more people into our circle.
Yeah. Once they try it, they're gonna love it. It's getting people to try it.
That's it. Yeah. Well, once again, Greg, thanks a lot for coming on the show today for this episode and sharing everything that you shared with us. It's been great, honestly. Great.
Thanks so much, Greg.
Yeah.
I appreciate every chance I get to chat with you guys. And November is on my calendar because we were talking about that a while back, Dave. And
that's right.
Awesome.
Looking right now like it fits my judo schedule. So hopefully I'll be able to zip out there and get some kilometers in.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, my friend. We'll talk soon.
Okay. You guys have a great evening.
You too.
See ya.
Bye.